we hear the sad news of the passing of legends. Today, the world says goodbye to remarkable souls who left their mark on history, hearts, and homes. In this video, we take a moment to remember them, to honor their legacy, their laughter, their love, and their light. Join us as we pay tribute to those we lost and celebrate the unforgettable lives they lived.
On July 6, 2025, the entertainment world lost a striking and unforgettable presence. Julian McMahon, the Australian-American actor best known for his roles in Charmed, Nip Tuck, and the Fantastic Four films, passed away at the age of 56 in Clearwater, Florida, following a private battle with cancer. Though his illness was kept quiet, the legacy he leaves behind is anything but. Born on July 27, 1968, in Sydney, Australia, Julian was the son of former Australian Prime Minister Sir William McMahon. While politics ran in the family, Julian carved a very different path, drawn to the spotlight not of Parliament, but of the screen. He began his career as a model, gracing international runways with his signature brooding charm before transitioning into acting in the late 1980s. He made his early mark on Australian television in Home and Away, but Hollywood soon called in. Julian answered. His breakout role came in 1996, when he joined the supernatural drama Charmed as Cole Turner, the half-demon with a heart caught between love and darkness. Opposite Alyssa Milano's Phoebe, Julian captivated fans with a performance that was both magnetic and tortured. Cole wasn't just a villain or a hero, he was something far more human, and it was Julian's depth and nuance that made him unforgettable. But it was in 2003, with FX's bold medical drama, Nip Tuck, that Julian McMahon truly cemented his place in television history. As Dr. Christian Troy, a plastic surgeon whose perfect exterior masked deep emotional scars, he portrayed the glossy, gritty, and complex world of vanity and vulnerability. His performance earned critical acclaim and made the series one of the defining shows of early 2000s television. Julian's talent extended to the big screen, most notably as Victor Von Doom in the Fantastic Four films. With icy precision and commanding presence, he brought Marvel's iconic villain to life for a new generation. Off-screen, Julian was known for his laid-back charisma, quiet intelligence, and artistic sensibility. Though he was often cast as seductive or morally ambiguous characters, friends and colleagues spoke of a man who was thoughtful, deeply committed to his craft, and generous with his time. In the final years of his career, Julian returned to television with FBI Most Wanted, where he led the show as Jess LaCroix, once again showing his ability to ground high-intensity drama with emotional truth. Even as he battled illness privately, he remained dedicated to his work, delivering strong performances that fans admired more than they knew. Following news of his passing, tributes poured in from co-stars, directors, and fans across the globe. Alyssa Milano posted a photo of the two on the Charmed set, captioned, "He brought intensity, intelligence, and light to every scene. I'll miss you, my friend." At a small gathering in Clearwater, candles were lit in the shape of a S. For every decade, he graced the screen. In Sydney, fans left flowers near the National Institute of Dramatic Art, where Julian once trained, thanking him for a lifetime of captivating roles. Julian McMahon wasn't just an actor, he was a presence. Tall, elegant, enigmatic. Whether he was playing a demon, a surgeon, or a federal agent, he gave every role complexity and soul. Rest in peace, Julian McMahon. You made mystery beautiful, and you made the screen better every time you walked on it. Your legacy, like your eyes, lingers, dark, bright, and unforgettable. On June 28, 2025, the racing world bid farewell to a titan of the turf. Wayne Lukas, the Hall of Fame trainer whose vision, discipline, and unmatched instincts revolutionized American horse racing, passed away at the age of 89, with his signature cowboy hat, unshakable confidence, and a resume that read like a legend's. Lukas didn't just win races, he changed the game. Born September 2, 1935, in Antigua, Wisconsin, Darrell Wayne Lukas grew up with a passion for horses. He began his professional life not at the racetrack, but in the classroom, earning a master's degree and working as a high school teacher and basketball coach. But the call of the stables proved louder than any chalkboard, and by the 1970s, Lukas had fully committed to training quarter horses, where he quickly rose through the ranks. His career took a defining turn when he switched to thoroughbred racing, a move that would mark the beginning of one of the most extraordinary careers in sports history. Lukas was more than a trainer. He was a pioneer, blending relentless work ethic with business savvy. He introduced corporate ownership, brought a new level of professionalism to the sport, and approached training with the mindset of a CEO. His barn ran with military precision, and his results spoke for themselves. Over the course of his legendary career, Wayne Lukas won more than 4,800 races, including an astonishing 14 Triple Crown races for Kentucky Derbies, 6 Preakness Stakes, and 4 Belmont Stakes. His first Derby win came in 1988 with Winning Colors, one of only 3 fillies to ever claim the roses. He trained champions like Charismatic, Thunder Gulch, Serena's Song, Lady's Secret, and Take Charge brand each victory a testament to his intuition, innovation, and grit. He was the first trainer in history to win over $100 million in purse earnings and won 5 Eclipse Awards for Outstanding Trainer. In 1999, he was inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, a well-earned coronation for a career built on precision, passion, and fearlessness. But perhaps what Lucas is most remembered for is his influence beyond the winner's circle. He mentored an entire generation of elite trainers. Names like Todd Pletcher, Dallas Stewart, and Kieran McLaughlin all came through the Lucas barn. His legacy wasn't just trophies, it was people. It was excellence passed down. Known for his trademark tan, crisp shirts, and quiet swagger, Lucas was always the first one in the barn and often the last to leave. Even in his later years, long after most had retired, he remained a daily presence at the track, still chasing greatness, still coaching young riders, still walking the shed rows like a man on a mission. When news of his passing broke, tributes flooded in from across the racing world. Churchill Downs, Saratoga, and Santa Anita flew flags at half. Hall of Famers, jockeys, breeders, and fans all shared the same sentiment. There will never be another Wayne Lucas. A memorial was held at Oaklawn Park, one of his favorite tracks, where his saddle towels were draped in silence, and former champions were paraded in tribute. Wayne Lucas believed in doing things the right way, the hard way, and the bold way. His presence commanded respect, and his impact will echo through the sport for generations. Rest in peace, Coach Lucas. You didn't just train horses, you trained champions. You didn't just change racing, you raised the bar. And in every winner's circle to come, your legacy rides on. On June 28, 2025, the motocross world lost one of its brightest rising stars. Aiden Zing, just 16 years old, died following a tragic mid-race accident at the Mammoth Motocross event in Mammoth Lakes, California. His fall was swift, shocking, heartbreaking, but in his short time on the track, Aiden had already made a mark that riders and fans will never forget. Born in 2008, Aiden Zingy grew up in the roar of engines, the scent of dirt, and the pulse of competition. From the moment he gripped his first set of handlebars as a child in Temecula, California, it was clear he wasn't just playing in the dirt, he was building a dream. With unwavering support from his family and a racing community that quickly saw his potential, Aiden began competing in junior circuits by the age of 8. He rode with a fire, a fearlessness that defied his age. Every jump, every lap, every podium finish carried the energy of a young man who wasn't just riding to win, he was riding to live. By his early teens, Aiden had racked up regional titles, national invitations, and brand sponsorships. His name was whispered in motocross circles as the one to watch, not just for his speed, but for his technical polish, his heart, and his absolute joy on the track. Coaches admired his work ethic, competitors respected his sportsmanship, and fans, especially young ones, saw in Aiden a reflection of something rare. Someone who rode not out of ego, but out of passion. At Mammoth, one of the most prestigious amateur motocross events in the country, Aiden was competing among the best. The course was brutal, the stakes high, but he met it with his trademark courage. When the accident occurred mid-air during a sharp jump, medics rushed in. He was airlifted to the hospital, but despite their efforts, Aiden passed away later. That evening, the racing community reeled. Moments of silence were held at tracks nationwide. Helmets were placed at the start gates in tribute. At his home track in Southern California, fellow riders lined up in single file, revving their engines once in unison, the sound echoing into the sky, a send-off for their fallen brother. Social media became a canvas of grief and love. Like hashtag Ride for Aiden and hashtag Zing16 trended worldwide. Tributes poured in from professional riders, team sponsors, and youth riders who looked up to him. Aiden's parents shared a statement. He lived life in fifth gear, with courage and heart. He died doing what he loved, chasing the wind. We miss him beyond words, but we are proud of the light he brought to this world. Plans are already in motion to establish the Aiden Zing Foundation, aimed at supporting youth motocross safety, training, and scholarships, so others may ride with the same passion, but with greater protection and support. Aiden's number 16 jersey has been retired at several junior circuits. His gear, still caked with dirt from that final ride, now rests behind glass at the local track clubhouse, a quiet, powerful reminder of how fragile greatness can be. In 16 years, Aiden lived with more purpose than many do in a lifetime. He didn't just ride bikes, he flew. He chased the edge with a smile and inspired everyone who ever sat behind a throttle. Rest in peace, Aiden Zing. The track is quiet now, but your legacy echoes in every twist of the throttle, every jump into the sky, every kid who dares to ride. Like you were born to race, and now you ride forever. On June 30, 2025, a solemn silence fell across the galaxy far, far away. Kenneth Coley, the distinguished British actor who immortalized Admiral Pite in Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Passed away at the age of 8 due to complications from COVID-19 and pneumonia. With his death, the world lost not just a gifted performer, but a quiet legend of the screen. Born on December 7, 1937. In Manchester, England, Kenneth Colley began his acting journey on the stage. Classically trained and deeply rooted in Shakespearean craft, he had a natural authority and a presence that commanded attention, traits that would become hallmarks of his most iconic performances. Colley appeared in numerous British films and television dramas in the 1960s and 70s, working alongside respected directors and carving out a reputation as a versatile and deeply committed actor. But in 1980, he stepped into the world of intergalactic warfare, when he was cast as Admiral Firmus Pite in Star Wars, Episode V, The Empire Strikes Back. Initially a supporting role, Colley's calm and calculated portrayal of Pite earned him a rare honor. He became the only Imperial officer to survive 2 Star Wars films. His character, often caught between Darth Vader's wrath and the crumbling chain of command, became a fan favorite not for flashy villainy, but for his stoic realism in the face of chaos. Fans admired the humanity Kenneth brought to a role. In a universe often dominated by spectacle, he gave Pite subtle depth, a kind of moral tension, perhaps the only Imperial who seemed aware of the cost of war. He stood out not by shouting orders, but by surviving them. Beyond Star Wars, Kenneth Colley gave stunning performances in Monty Python's Life of Brian, where he portrayed Jesus Christ with striking sincerity amid the satire, and as Captain Veer in Billy Budd. He was also a favorite of director Derek Jarman, appearing in experimental films that showcased his artistic range. Off-screen, Colley was known for his private demeanor, sharp intellect, and wry sense of humor. He rarely gave interviews, preferring to let the work speak. At conventions, however, he warmly welcomed fans, especially those who lined up to thank him for making a minor Star Wars character unforgettable. With his passing, tributes arrived from across the Star Wars universe. Actors, fans, and franchise creatives shared memories of his performance, praising his ability to turn a background role into a character of lasting intrigue. The official Star Wars account posted, "The Empire has lost one of its finest. Thank you, Kenneth Colley, for your quiet strength." A special tribute was held at Pinewood Studios, where scenes from Empire Strikes Back were originally filmed. Colleagues gathered to raise a toast, watching the moment where Pite stares out into the stars, bracing for impact. Loyal to the end, Kenneth Colley didn't need lightsabers or catchphrases to leave his mark. He showed that even in the shadows of giants, there is room for subtlety, dignity, and brilliance. Rest in peace, Kenneth Colley. Your command bridge may now be quiet, but your presence echoes in every corner of the galaxy. On July 4, 2025, the world of theater dimmed its lights for one of its most gifted voices. Richard Greenberg, the celebrated Tony Award-winning playwright, passed away at the age of 67. His legacy, however, remains powerfully alive in the words he left behind on stages, on pages, and in the hearts of actors and audiences everywhere. Born on February 22, 1958, in East Meadow, New York, Richard Greenberg grew up with a deep curiosity about the human condition. He attended Princeton University, where he studied English, and later honed his dramatic voice at Yale School of Drama. It was there that he began crafting the elegant, emotionally rich, and psychologically layered plays that would become his signature. Greenberg wrote over 25 plays, earning critical acclaim for his intellect, wit, and deep empathy for flawed, complex characters. But it was 2002's Take Me Out that catapulted him into theatrical history, a bold and nuanced exploration of homosexuality in professional sports. Take Me Out centered on a star baseball player who comes out publicly, shaking the foundations of his team and the game itself. It was daring, it was timely, and it was human. The play premiered on Broadway to widespread acclaim, ultimately winning the Tony Award for Best Play in 2003. Greenberg's words didn't just provoke, they revealed. He had a rare ability to blend sharp intellect with quiet emotional force, challenging audiences without alienating them. His characters often wrestled with identity, disconnection, ambition, and vulnerability. Through them, Greenberg asked the big questions about art, love, failure, and self-perception. His other acclaimed works include 3 Days of Rain, The Violet Hour, Our Mother's Brief Affair, and The Dazzleich steeped in lyrical beauty. In haunting reflection, 3 Days of Rain became a Broadway hit once again in 2006, featuring Julia Roberts in her stage debut. Critics praised the play's structure, which unfolded like a mystery across 2 generations, with Greenberg's dialogue carrying the rhythm of memory and regret. Though never one to seek the limelight, Greenberg was cherished by actors, directors, and fellow playwrights. He was known for his humble brilliance, his dry wit, and his insistence on exploring the truth beneath the surface. He often wrote about artists, intellectuals, and misfits not from a place of judgment, but compassion. His death prompted tributes, From across the theater world, Theater Communications Group called him a genius of structure and soul, while playwrights like Adam Rapp and Lynn Nottage credited him for breaking down barriers and showing what modern American theater could aspire to. Broadway marquees dimmed their lights for him at the Hayes Theater, where Take Me Out had returned in a celebrated revival just a few years prior. Actors gathered to read from his works. There were tears, laughter, and a reverent silence when his final words were spoken. Beyond the accolades, Richard Greenberg leaves us with a body of work that endures, timeless, fearless, and deeply human. His plays continue to be studied in universities, revived by theaters big and small, and whispered backstage by young actors chasing the rhythm of his lines. Richard once said, "I don't think plays solve anything, but they can illuminate things." And he did just that again and again. Rest in peace, Richard Greenberg. Your voice was singular, your vision sharp, and your stories quietly radical. Gently devastating will echo across stages forever. On June 26, 2025, Hollywood lost one of its most recognizable character actors. Rick Hurst, best known for his hilarious and endearing portrayal of Deputy Cletus Hogg on the classic series The Dukes of Hazzard, passed away at the age of 79. Fixture of American television comedy, Rick left behind a legacy built on laughter, warmth, and the kind of charm only a true Southern gentleman could deliver. Born on January 1, 1946, in Houston, Texas, Rick began acting not on camera, but in small theater productions across the South. After studying drama in college and working behind the scenes in television, he got his big break in the late 1960s with guest appearances on shows like Sanford & Son, All in the Family, and The Bob Newhart Show. But it was in 1979, when he joined the hit CBS show, The Dukes of Hazzard, that Rick became a household name. As Cletus Hogg, the sweet but bumbling cousin of Sheriff Roscoe and loyal deputy to Boss Hogg, Rick delivered comedic gold week after week. His wide-eyed reactions, slapstick timing, and lovable awkwardness made him a fan favorite, especially with younger viewers who delighted in Cletus's well-meaning goofiness. Rick appeared in over 35 episodes of the series and even starred in The Dukes of Hazzard spin-off, The Dukes, bringing heart and humor to a role that could have easily been one-dimensional in lesser hands. His portrayal turned Cletus into more than just comic relief. He became a symbol of small-town sweetness, always trying to do right, even if he never quite got there. Outside of Hazzard County, Rick Hurst built an impressive career in television and film. He had memorable roles in The Partridge Family, Maude, MASH, Asterisk, and even voiced characters in animated projects. He was the kind of actor producers trusted, always professional, always funny, and always unforgettable. In the 1990s and 2000s, Rick embraced his legacy. He became a beloved guest at fan conventions, Dukes reunions, and classic car shows, always happy to sign autographs and reminisce with fans. He knew how much joy the show brought to people, and he never distanced himself from it. He was proud of Cletus, proud to have made people laugh, to have been part of something that families watched together on Friday nights. Off camera, Rick was a devoted husband, father, and grandfather. He was known among friends and fans as down-to-earth, full of stories, and quick with a joke. Those who knew him best say he was just like the characters he played, genuine, kind-hearted, and always smiling. Following his passing, tributes flooded social media from co-stars, longtime fans, and members of the television community. Tom Wopat and Catherine Batch, his Dukes castmates, both shared heartfelt messages. With Wopat writing, Rick brought a lightness to the set and to our hearts. There'll never be another Cletus. At a private memorial in Texas, a vintage Hazzard County patrol car stood parked beside his portrait, a final nod to the role that made him immortal in the world of classic American television. Rick Hurst was never the loudest voice in the room, but through humor, humility, and consistency, he became one of the most cherished. He made us laugh without ever making fun. He reminded us that even in a world of chaos, there's beauty in simplicity and joy in good-hearted silliness. Rest easy, Rick, somewhere. Cletus is still chasing the Duke boys in circles, getting outsmarted again, but doing it with a smile. On June 26, 2025, the velvet harmonies of classic R&B fell silent for a moment, as we said goodbye to one of its smoothest voices. Walter Scott Jr., one of the original founding members of the Whispers, passed away at the age of 81. For over 6 decades, Walter's voice helped shape the sound of soul, romance, and quiet storm grooves, a sound that carried across generations, hearts, and dance floors. His passing marks the end of an era, but his music lives on in every slow jam and late-night serenade. Born in 1943 in Los Angeles, California, Walter Scott Jr. came of age during a golden time for music. Alongside his twin brother Wallace Scott and fellow founding members Nicholas Caldwell, Marcus Hudson, and LaVille Degree, he co-founded the Whispers in the early 1960s, originally performing in local clubs and small venues under the mentorship of iconic R&B producers. They were a group rooted in brotherhood, discipline, and an unwavering love for soulful harmony. With tight suits, tighter vocals, and graceful choreography, the Whispers stood apart. But it was their signature vocal blend anchored by Walter and Wallace that became unmistakable. Their breakout years came in the 1970s and 80s. With hits like And the Beat Goes On, Rock Steady, Lady, and It's a Love Thing. These weren't just songs, they were soundtracks to first dates, family cookouts, and quiet nights at home. Walter's silky baritone and stage presence gave the group its warmth, its soul, and its magic. Though not always in the solo spotlight, Walter was the steady heartbeat behind the group's success. He carried harmonies with precision, handled arrangements with care, and ensured that the Whispers always sounded polished and powerful. He was the quiet leader in a group that prided itself on professionalism and longevity. Unlike many of their contemporaries, the Whispers endured through changing trends, new sounds, and industry shifts. The group kept going, strong touring, recording, and staying true to their roots. Walter remained with them throughout the decades, helping guide their sound and legacy into the 21st century. Behind the scenes, Walter was known as humble, soft-spoken, and deeply committed to his family and faith. He believed in music with meaning, and never chased controversy or spotlight-only excellence. Upon news of his passing, tributes poured in from fellow R&B legends, fans, and younger artists who grew up on his sound. The remaining members of the Whispers shared in a joint statement, "Walter was the soul of our harmony. We were more than a group, we were a family. And today, we've lost a brother." A special tribute concert is being planned in Los Angeles, where the group's journey began, featuring R&B greats and gospel choirs, honoring a voice that graced the world with love, groove, and grace. Walter Scott Jr. gave us the kind of music that doesn't age, the kind that plays in the background of our memories and lifts us when we need to feel something real. Rest in peace, Walter. Your voice may be still, but the beat goes on. Your harmony lives forever, in every whisper of soul that echoes through our hearts. On July 7, 2025, the gospel world lost a voice that could move mountains and mend hearts. Mama Mossy Burks, the legendary soloist of the Mississippi Mass Choir, passed away peacefully at the age of 92. She wasn't just a singer, she was a vessel of praise, a beacon of faith, and a mother figure to millions who never even met her. Born in 1933 in Forest, Mississippi, Mossy Burks grew up immersed in the music of the church, long before microphones, albums, or worldwide recognition. She was already ministering through song, lifting her voice in small churches and community gatherings, where her power could quiet a room and stir a soul. Life was not easy for Mossy. She faced personal loss, hard labor, and long years before recognition found her. But her spirit never wavered. She once worked as a domestic helper, raising her children and serving her community, all while staying rooted in her faith. And when her moment came, she was ready. That moment came in the 1990s, when she joined the Mississippi Mass Choir, a powerhouse gospel ensemble founded by Frank Williams. Her first lead performance, Mama Burks' Praise Break and The Unforgettable, When I Rose This Morning, became instant classics. It wasn't just the notes she hit, it was the testimony behind them. Her voice was electric, gritty, and glorious. She sang with a soul that had been tested, tried, and redeemed. She didn't perform gospel, she lived it. Mama Mossy quickly became the heart of the choir, whether on national tours, Sunday broadcasts, or late-night gospel hours. Her presence filled every stage and sanctuary. With her signature hats, radiant smile, and hands lifted high, she became the living embodiment of joyful praise. She wasn't just admired by gospel fans. Icons like Kirk Franklin, Yolanda Adams, and C.S. Winans often cited her as an influence. Younger generations of worship leaders found in her an unshakable example of how to sing from the soul and stand on the truth. Even in her later years, Mama Mossy never stopped singing. She performed into her 90s, still bringing crowds to their feet and tears to their eyes. Age never dulled her fire. In fact, it made her light shine brighter at her passing. Tributes poured in from choirs, churches, and gospel legends across the world. The Mississippi Mass Choir released a statement. "She was our voice, our example, our mama. She taught us how to praise with power, live with humility, and love with a pure heart." In Jackson, Mississippi, where the choir is based, a candlelight vigil filled the streets with hymns and memories. Church bells rang out in Forest, and across the internet, thousands of videos replayed her soaring solos, reminders of a woman who never sang for fame, only for the glory of God. Plans are underway to rename the choir's rehearsal hall in her honor, the Mossy Burks Praise Center. It will stand as a sanctuary for future gospel singers, a place to train voices and raise spirits. Mama Mossy Burks proved that you don't have to be young to be powerful, or famous to be impactful. Her story was one of delayed dreams fulfilled, of steadfast faith rewarded, and of a voice that never faltered because it came straight from the heart. Rest in peace, Mama Mossy. You didn't just sing gospel, you were gospel. The choir of heaven just got its loudest, sweetest soloist yet.